Is romance dead? Some say romance is not dead, but it may be changing in different ways. Others say that romance has declined in many different places. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're counting down the top 5 instances where people are discussing why they think romance is a thing of the past. Starting off our list at number 5, we have romance and romantic love is somehow propaganda.
This might sound like a conspiracy theory, but isn't the concept of romance and love, romantic love, the biggest propaganda to keep women voluntarily in serving their patriarchal gender roles? Now, hear me out, because back in the days, women had to stay in. He was just incompetent, not raising the kids properly, not carrying out his part of the deal, as in being a provider, head of the household, protector, whatnot. And women had to do that. Women had to remain in that role because they didn't have any other choice. That was what was expected of them. It's not like they could just pack and go. But nowadays, with this concept of love, this unwavering love, women voluntarily stay in relationships where the man is not clearly keeping their part of the deal. They're not providing, they're not loving, they're not being good fathers, husbands, you name it. And women stay and support them in their lows because they love them. Because they love them, you sacrifice their entire life and voluntarily remain in the role that the patriarchal society expects you to remain in? Because you love him? All because you loved a boy? So this seems like a good food for thought for us to think about.
Coming in at number 4, we have romance as part of the patriarchal agenda.
Y'all eat me up and tell me how this one time 10 years ago a man bought you flowers. The concept of romance as we know it today is another tool of patriarchy. Romance is what has allowed common men to have access to women's sexuality and fertility. Because if it were not for romance and love, women would still be going after the best and the brightest and would leave most men out of their dating pool. And do you want to know the perfect place to observe this? Go watch a few episodes of Cheaters, because I guarantee that you will see a pattern. The woman who lives with the cheater always complains about how he doesn't do these nice things that he's doing for the other woman anymore. He doesn't buy her flowers anymore. He doesn't buy her gifts anymore. He doesn't even say kind words to her anymore. You want to know why? Because he already used his romance tool on you and it already worked. He already got you. He already has access to your fertility and access to sex with you. He doesn't have to romance you anymore because he already got what he wanted. Romance is a tool of patriarchy that allows common, ordinary men access to our reproduction and our sexuality.
Coming in at number 3, we have There is no such thing as true love.
There is no such thing as true love. Well, actually, let me take a step back. I don't believe in the type of love that's been shoved down our throats since childhood. One of the most common things I hear women say after breaking up with their boyfriends is the spark just wasn't there anymore. Or I feel like we just grew apart. But what is the spark? And why did you allow yourselves to grow apart when you could have grown together? We have been raised to romanticize everything. And we've also been raised in a time of unlimited choices. And both of those combine into a bad cocktail of unrealistic expectations. Guess what? There probably isn't going to be an orchestra playing in the background when you realize you love somebody. And as your relationship becomes more predictable and there are less rocks to turn over, it's not going to be nearly as exciting as it was in the beginning. And you know what else? You can actually decide to grow with your partner rather than on your own. You can both pick a spot and aim for it together. And when you find that shared goal, nothing can stop you from building the strongest relationship imaginable in pursuit of it. That's what love is. It's finding someone you're passionate about and finding happiness in true partnership rather than a fiery, dopamine-fueled romance.
Coming in at number 2, we have Romantic love is a psychological weapon.
Romantic love is the most destructive idea in the history of human thought. Romantic love is a psychological weapon that's been used to brainwash women and men into believing that love is outside of them, therefore distracting them from ever cultivating a loving relationship with themselves. Once again, it's another ploy to turn us into the perfect consumer by externalizing and outsourcing our social and emotional needs. We're pretty much conditioned from movies, media, TV shows, books, etc. in childhood to outsource all of our social emotional needs and give another person the impossible task of fulfilling them. And the biggest problem of all is that we don't even know ourselves, who we are and what we want. How can we advocate for ourselves in a relationship? How can we even attract the right partner? How can we even end up in a compatible relationship when we don't even know our own needs? When we haven't taken the time to investigate like what's right for us? When we are going after the idea of love sold to us from the media, it's just another recipe for self-sabotage and countless failures and frustration. And we wonder why we're in a loneliness epidemic. We're wondering why 1 in 3 marriages end in divorce. It's because we don't actually know what the fuck we're doing. And we're literally going ass backwards into everything. Because everything we were taught is bullshit.
And finally, our number 1, we have romantic love is just a hoax.
Wondered why our society places such a huge emphasis on finding romantic love? Could it all be a grand scheme? These forces of societal control take our deep-seated need for connection and community and reduce it to a neat little package. We're told that our ultimate goal is to find the one and settle down in cozy little homes, each fending for themselves and buying all the things. And who does this system really trap? Women? Yep, the pressure's on us to prove our worth through our relationships. We're stuck in a loop of searching for the perfect partner, constantly striving to make things work. When things go south, we're trained to point the finger on ourselves, thinking, I just need to find the right person. All of our time, energy, resources get funneled into this quest, leaving little room for community or fighting back against the system. So, what's the solution? To break free from that cycle, we have to embrace our connections with others, decenter men in our lives, and challenge the status quo. It's time to create a world that values more than just romantic love.
So there you have it. The top 5 reasons why people think romance is dead. Which ones do you agree with? Or are all these women just cynical? Burned by love? Drop a comment below, and let's talk about it. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Until next time.